Hollow in North Carolina. There have been several Bigfoot sightings.
Hunters may need to be on the lookout for something other than deer when they hit the woods this week.
He hadn't been spotted recently, but according to these pictures, the legendary Mothman is back.
The number of UFO sightings is soaring tenfold over the past 25 years.
Now, she's not talking about people. She is talking about ghosts hanging around what some say is a real-life haunted house.
You're listening to Paratalkradio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy on Paratalkradio.com, a member of the WLFE digital broadcast family. Paratalkradio is your one-stop for all things paranormal, the unknown, and the supernatural. Join us every Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central for discussions and guests on topics such as ghosts, hauntings, Bigfoot, UFOs, and more. This broadcast is rated M for mature and is intended for listeners over 16. The topics, views, and opinions expressed on our show may not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Paratalk Radio, our hosts, or our sponsors. Now, live from J. Wolf Production Studio in Ontario, New York, here are your hosts, Ted and Cindy.
Hi, everybody! Teddy, where are you? I have a surprise for you.
You do? You have a surprise for me? Oh, look at that. Cool shirt. You got me on your chest. That's cool.
I'm wearing you on my chesticles.
I see that on your chesticles. That's a new word. That's a Cindy word, guys. Bill Davis says, shared. What did I win? I'm not sure yet, but we're going to let Cindy go ahead and say hi to everybody.
Good. I wanted to.
And then we're going to get to our guest.
Okay, perfect. Hi, Paratalk Radio. Hi, WLFE-DB.com. Oh my gosh, there's so much from everybody. I can't find us. Us meaning our peeps. Okay, yes. Hi, Robert. Hi, Barry. Hi, Bill. Hi, Chanel. I'm so happy to see
and
my
there's
friends.
Several more that we can't see. So that's just us here. That's not the WLFE network or the other five. Actually,
that's
1,
right.
2, 3, 4,
Hi,
5,
Indie
6,
Bookstore
7.
Source.
There you go,
Robin
Indy.
Joan. Listen,
Nice.
guys, if you see me playing with my nose, I'm not picking boogers. It's just my nose thing.
There you go. So we are on 8 destinations tonight. So we are on 4 Facebook pages, 2 YouTube pages, and a Twitter page tonight. So
shoot. Okay, friends.
And Alicia Starr. Hello, Alicia. I see you over here. James Christopher James, I see you over here as well. So I'm trying to do that. So, I'm excited about tonight's guest. Yeah, I mean, this guy's been around in the paranormal field for a while. He's been doing some investigation. He's got some really good information and stories as well. So anyways, if you want me to, I'll get right on going here unless you have something to say.
Nice shirt, Cindy. I have one just like it. So does Barry. It's kind of weird wearing myself.
So does Robert. Anyways, we are talking with John Bullard tonight.
That's right.
Yeah, so we are talking to John Bullard tonight. He's been investigating since 2008. He's had childhood experiences, which has intrigued him, which has since he was 10 years old, between hearing voices and seeing shadow figures. He began investigating and researching locations. He's captured some incredible evidence at the King's Tavern. And I don't know how to say this. I'm probably going to screw it up. Natchez, maybe. And N-M-S, N-A-T, like Natch, and then E-Z, Natchez. That's what I'm going to say.
N-A-T-Z.
Yeah, it might be.
T-H-E-Z.
But it began his journey with documenting true evidence. And he's been putting his nose to the grindstone to get, real evidence, real things that us in the field can look at as well as ponder on ourselves,
Nice.
He
Hi,
has,
Kristen. Hi, Tom.
yeah, and there's Matthew Ludwig. Hello, Matthew. So he's got a movie, and it's called The House in Between, that he's been studying for a long time, and he has a book called A Peek Through the Veil. So I have that stuff on the banner, so we'll get to that in just a moment. But let's get him up here. If he's ready to go, are you ready to go, John? John?
Cindy Jr. and Ted Jr.
Nice. There he is. He's like, I'm ready to go. He's good.
John, how are you?
Oh, he's so.
I'm
Like
fantastic.
Please.
Yeah, his internet's a little choppy there. Are you plugged into your Ethernet or just Wi-Fi?
Let me my wife.
Okay, whatever you got to do.
Oh, that was better for a second. Woo, that was a ghost image of John.
There we go. All right, now you're moving. Now
That's
we see you.
better.
Much better.
Is that better?
Oh yeah,
Better.
that's awesome.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird. I've never had issues before, so first time for everything. There we go.
It's our fault, probably.
We're here.
There's lots of energy over here.
We'll blame it
So
on
hey,
ourselves. Why
let
not?
me. There we go. Hey, but look,
Go ahead.
thank y'all for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes.
Well, I was looking forward to it, so I started reading up on you some, and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get this dude on.
Thank you so much. I
Fantastic.
appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So wait, so how long did you say that you were doing ghost hunting so far?
It's been about 13 years since I've started my first investigation. I've been into it since I was really like 8 years old, 18 years old. I would always have things happen to me. So definitely not a medium. I'm not sensitive. The title of the book is kind of what I've coined, what I have, which is A Peek Through the Veil. So actually with my grandparents who lived in a small town in Mississippi, my grandfather used to do estate sales all over the South. And a lot of them were Victorian. Yeah, for the school. So a lot of them were Victorian homes, and not all of them were, but there were several places that I went to with my grandfather. Actually, is where I would see shadow figures. I would hear voices, conversations, and I kind of like it started happening more and more, and I just kind of ignored it, I guess, and kind of put it off. And I'm like, I'm not gonna go tell my grandfather because he was like an old stern guy, and he's gonna be like, this kid's an idiot, So I started researching, whenever the internet was available and local things. It's kind of weird because I'm blessed to be where I am in the South with doing paranormal, with all the Civil War stuff that's happened. And by the way, you killed it. It's Natchez, Mississippi. So you did a great job on the pronunciation of
I wasn't sure.
Good job, Teddy.
There you go.
Gold star.
So, but yeah.
Proud of you.
So Natchez, Mississippi and Vicksburg, Mississippi are two heavy battlegrounds of the Civil War. So I think per capita, probably because of how small they are, we have more antebellum homes in space right here in Mississippi than pretty much anywhere in the country.
Wow.
There's a lot of stuff that's still standing. You talk about late 1700s in the United States, that's old because we don't have a lot of stuff still standing from the 1700s.
No,
but we do.
not.
So we have some really cool structures here in the South. So it's a blessing to be where I am, to kind of validate what I wanted to experience, and that's why I went to King's Tavern. So that was 1780s, and I figured what better place to validate what I experienced as a child than to go to King's Tavern, and I had no clue what I was doing. I had the old little cassette little recorder, I had a camera. I had a couple of friends come with me because I was like, I don't want to go alone, and luckily
that's a rule. That's a rule. Don't go alone.
That is a rule.
Never go alone.
But, everything that I heard, I was hoping it was paranormal because I wanted something dramatic to happen to validate the things that I experienced as a child to show me that this wasn't just my imagination. It was something that was valid. Right. And we probably 6 hours into the night, we actually had a door open and a voice we captured. And I'll never forget that moment because it just kind of sent me into this trajectory of where I am now 13 years later, because it kind of validated that I'm not crazy. This is real. There's something going on here. And so it sent me on a path to try to prove life after death. And I wanted to be able to document clean, clear evidence for people to listen to. And I do marketing as my day job. That's my normal job. And so I know that people have short attention spans. And kudos to the investigators who put up hour and 20-minute videos of you investigating in the dark. That's great. However, nobody's going to watch that, right? So you have to package your evidence to be able to have people click and listen and look and then move on, because the majority of people are not into what we do. So, I wanted people to be able to see the video, hear the audio, and audio is one of my favorite things because, even if you have a skeptic, which we need skeptics, obviously they keep us honest in the field for what we do. But, if you're capturing clean, clear EVPs, and if it's not fake, you have to have a conversation about what that is, whether it's interdimensional, whether it's paranormal. So audio has been one of my favorite things throughout the 13 years in the field.
Oh, that's that word. He said it. Interdimensional. He had to say that word. He had to say it.
Yep.
See, John, I'm the skeptic.
Oh, I call it.
I like it. We need skeptics.
Oh, Bill Davis. I love it. We do. Bill.
Yeah, for sure.
Y'all watch my crap.
So let me ask you, have either of y'all seen The House in Between?
No, I have not. I want to. I just saw it. Now, I think I made a mistake.
Wait, I don't know what that is.
That's his movie.
What are we talking about?
That's
so
his
The
movie.
House So let me tell you a little bit backstory about The House in Between.
Please tell me about this. I want to go see it now.
For sure. So what we did was there's a private residence, and I, as an investigator, I have not done a lot of private residences. I'm a selfish investigator, as in I like to investigate things that I like to investigate. I love history. I love Victorian mansions. And it's a blessing to be able to travel to these places, and the caretakers or the owners are like, "Here's the keys. We'll come get you in 12 hours." So that's all part of the ambiance.
Gotta love that. Gotta love that. You know.
Yeah, you build trust and credibility. So anyway, so I didn't do a lot of private residences, and if as a serious investigator, if you're doing something with a private residence and you're interacting with people who think they truly have an authentic haunting in their home, that's a lot to get into. If you take that seriously, to kind of interact with somebody, and if they are that traumatized that there's something going on, because majority of the time, clearly there's rational reasons and explanations for things that are happening in homes, right? Or there could be somebody who's got a mental state of something going on, and that's something that you either have to deal with or just tell them that you can't help them. So anyway, I had a very bad experience with a private residence prior to doing Alice's house that's associated with The House in Between. So I haven't done a private residence in years before a friend of a friend called and told me that this lady, she had a house that was built in the 90s. She has unexplainable things happening. She has lights in the house. And I'm like, that's interesting. She's about 45 minutes away from me, so not too far. So I thought, what the hell? Let me go check it out. And I'm glad I did, obviously. She's a psychiatric nurse, and I could tell when I met her, she was just genuine, authentic, and you could tell how scared she was. That was the biggest thing. I could tell how truly petrified she was in the house, and she didn't live there anymore. She actually bought another house to get out of this house that she built for her family in the 90s.
Oh, wow.
And with being in the house for a short time, and I didn't tell her this story until about 6 months ago. So I held this story for over a decade. But I was sitting in the house and I was having a conversation with her, and up the stairs in her house, I saw a shadow figure out of the corner of my eye. And it kind of brought me back to when I was like a kid with my grandfather, because that's what I used to see in those houses. I would see shadow figures and hear conversations and voices and all that good stuff. So it kind of brought me back to my childhood, and I kind of connected with Alice immediately. And I was like, So I started dabbling in the house and investigating the house, and we started capturing some really incredible stuff that I've never captured anywhere. And I've been to some really neat places that people are familiar with, like Winchester Mystery and Villiscax Murder House and Waverly Hills, all these fun, cool places that investigators like to knock off their bucket list. But this house was just different. It was different in the way that the house was so consistent. So I investigated the house for about 5 or 6 years by myself. until we brought another investigator in, Brad, who's part of the House in Between also. And what's neat about Brad is he's not a paranormal investigator. He saw it on the local news because they were doing news stories. The house got to that level where they started doing kind of some publicity and stuff like that. And I think it's great having Brad come in because, like you, he's a skeptic and he has no bad habits. So as an investigator, he hasn't seen things. He's not skewed. So it's nice to have a fresh set of eyes. And I think it's great for any investigator to open up your location. So, like, if you're actively investigating a location, don't close it off. Don't put your arms around it and lock it down. Open it up and invite other people in, because you need to have those different personalities, the different, methods, because we're all different as investigators. And I never consider myself a professional. I think that everybody has their own skill set. And if we merge them together, you can really get some great evidence and feedback. So with Brad coming in, we kind of propelled the house a little bit more forward. And we eventually, the House in Between came to be because we got Steve Gonzalez from Ghost Hunters. He actually came down and he visited the house, and something happened immediately when he got into the house that was so dramatic that he ended up on top of a chair trying to figure out what happened. There was actually a light that turned off on command when he asked it to, and he was trying to figure out if we had some fake wires or something going on. Like he couldn't figure it out. So he left, and about a week later he called us back and said, "Hey, I need to come back down there." So we invited him back, obviously. Because the thing is with Alice's house is Brad and I know, because I've been doing it over a decade now, we know how authentic this haunting is, and we know how real it is. When we've captured countless things moving on camera, lights turning off on command, doors opening, incredible voices. So what we wanted to do was not show how cool our haunting was. What we wanted to do was bring somebody in who had, credibility in the field, which is Steve Gonzalez. He's one of the OGs of the paranormal. He was doing ghost hunting before ghost hunting was cool.
Right.
But he's also very skeptical. Like he's not just going to say something's paranormal. You have to prove it to him on a scientific basis that there's something that's actually going on.
Yeah, we know because we worked with him. We've worked with him too.
We know we've worked with them.
Yeah, he's a great guy. So we wanted to bring the best of the best in, and that's who we thought of.
I'm going to get my Ethernet cord. Hang on.
Okay. We brought him. Yeah. So we brought him in, and so he had the dramatic experience, and then he came back, and then he kind of he asked, have you guys ever thought about doing a documentary on the house? In which we have a lot of stuff documented, and my thought process was it'd be neat for the world to see what we've captured over the decade, because I hadn't put it all out there. Yeah, so we have a lot of stockpile stuff that we've never put out there from Alice's house.
I mean, you said 5 years though, right? I mean, 5 years, that's a lot of stuff to collect.
It is. That's the thing. So I did 6 years by myself, and then Brad came in.
Yeah.
So when the House in Between came out May 5th of 2020, weirdly right when COVID kicked off. So it was neat because everybody was streaming. So it had such success, and I think part of that was with COVID. So it's a blessing and a curse at the same time. But
right.
But yeah, the biggest thing with the House in Between, I'll say this. The first initial reviews were kind of harsh, and you can never make everybody happy.
Right.
But after people kind of let it sink in and watched it, the reviews were incredible, and the success of the film was beyond what we could imagine. And it's for 3 reasons. Number one, this is not a jump scare. This is not Hollywood. It's not The Conjuring, right? This is Alice's story, a homeowner. So it's a human interest story about her and how, a true haunting can affect somebody. You think about a house and a lady who lives there by herself, and things got so dramatic inside her house that she actually left. She doesn't spend the night there anymore. She built this house for her family, and she doesn't live there. That's pretty dramatic and sad. And then number 2 is, we have the paranormal supernatural aspect of it, because we have a chandelier going off. We have a baseball that's coming off the stairs by itself. And then we also have science. So what we did was we brought in physicists. We brought in somebody to check the leveling in the house, the electrical inside the house. So we merged a lot of science with the paranormal and kind of blended it with Alice's story. And it's something that's unique and hasn't been done before. And what I love about it is you don't have to be into the supernatural paranormal to watch the House in Between, because it's more like a mystery, in my opinion. And it's really just authentic. And with the guy that was checking the electrical inside the house, he put a big dip in his mouth and spit it out. And he's a good old.
That's me.
Look,
That is totally Teddy.
look, but he's a good old boy from Mississippi, and it's one of those things where what you see on the film is authentic. We're not actors. I would be a terrible actor. So what you see is what you get. But it's neat to see some of the things that we've been able to capture. And baseball's one focal point in the film. But the backstory is we've been able to capture patterns. And there's a chapter in my book called Teaching the Spirits. And one of the things I ask about the paranormal supernatural is if you invest so much time in the same location, because we do feel like there's a male and a female that's dominant and attached to this land and the property. And, I've been investigating the house for over a decade now. So the question is, if there is truly intelligent beings and spirits who can communicate with us, if you stay there long enough, could you create a relationship with them? Will they help you out? If you watch the film, and I'm not going to spoil it because I really do want y'all to watch the Tell Sky I Said Hello. She's amazing. Love her. But yeah, so watch The House in Between. The last 10 minutes of the documentary, you'll see what I'm talking about. And
so
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this out to all of our people in the chat room. I want you to go out, rent this movie, watch this movie, and then let's say 2 weeks from now, gives you guys 2 weeks to watch the movie, come back and give us your opinion of the movie. Because I'd love to know what you guys think. Now, we always do that stuff, but it'd be nice if you guys get involved and do that also. So make sure that you guys watch the movie. And get back to us, and we'll forward your information to John. How about that? And what they
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And go to the houseinbetween.com, and it's on 28 streaming platforms. So I think there's a couple that it's still free on. So check it out if you have one of the streaming platforms that is free. We just want everybody to watch the story and watch the movie. And what's neat about The House in Between is the feedback is so many people have watched the documentary, not just once, but they're watching it 5 and 6 times. And I think that's really cool. And there's a lot of paranormal things that are in the documentary that we do not highlight. They're Easter eggs. And we did that on purpose. We don't want to highlight every single thing that happens in the film. We want people to watch, and the people who are into the paranormal, you'll catch those little things. But it's a very interesting documentary. We brought a medium in, which Steve does not care for mediums per se, so he had to wrangle on somebody. We brought him from Seattle, but it was really interesting to see what she was able to do, what she was able to sketch, and how she predicted some stuff at the beginning of when she arrived at the house, and how it transpired at the end of the documentary. So it was, definitely. Hey, look, I'm biased because it's one of the films I'm in, but it's a very unique documentary.
What I'd like to do quick here is, one, I always say hey to D, one of my friends from my new job. Thank you for popping in. That's awesome to see you here. I just wanted to go over a couple things. Like, the directors were actually Steve Gonzalez and then Kendall Woolton. And then you had Aaron Brown and Justin Brown both in there, and Amy Bullard, I'm going to guess, is your wife, right?
That's her. Yep.
Yeah. Very, very cool. You have some really good names in here, people that we know, in fact. So that's very cool.
Yeah, Kendall and Vera, they just did the Sleepless Unrest, which is about the Conjuring House documentary. Right. So that also was very well. Having Kendall, because Kendall has been attached to Ghost Hunters with Steve, because he was the cinematographer for like ever. I think Kendall told me he's been to like 500 locations. Yeah. So Kendall's been to more locations than I have. I love him and I hate him at the same time for that.
You know what though? I mean, we sit here as paranormal investigators ourselves, and all of them that we have interviewed over the past 5.5 years here on Paratalk Radio, and the ones that I've been doing this since 1985. Okay, so you're talking 37 years. So
that's the year I was born.
Oh, see, there you go. So, it's
When's
a
your
long
birthday?
time.
March 12th, 1985.
Oh, Pisces. Okay.
But as I was saying, was that, it doesn't matter how many locations you get to. And we do more residential than we do,
right, and commercial.
for the commercial stuff. So, to me, I look at it as it doesn't matter how many locations you go to. It's more about what you experience, what you're able to take away from it.
Exactly.
Because we know there's teams out there that are just doing it to get scared. They're doing it to, for the adrenaline rush. But then there's some like with you. Like I spent 3 years at locations.
Right.
You know, easily. Because I really wanted to get in there and figure out what was going on. I didn't want to just, go and say, oh, I was here for 8 hours and blah, 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 blah. That's not how it works.
No, it's not.
A lot of people say they do.
Yeah. And somebody asked me one time, a guy asked me, he said, why do you think the scientific field, because we've been working with a lot of people in the scientific field. They asked me, why do you think the science field doesn't take what you guys do seriously? And it's really as simple as this. Oh, Sky, she's amazing. But it's as simple as this, though. So like you said, there are people who take this as a passion, and you do this because you have a passion. And that's the fact. Because when you do an investigation, you have to imagine, you think about the evidence review itself is just grueling. The video and the audio you have to listen to, and a lot of times you don't get any evidence. So it's just one of those things. It's a labor of love. But unfortunately, you don't have to have a license to be a paranormal investigator. So anybody can
Not
do
yet.
it.
Not yet. You know what's going to happen eventually.
I don't know.
One day.
A past life regression or a hypnosis person, past life regressionist, still not licensure.
Oh, still not?
No. Hypnosis, not licensure.
Well, then maybe it never will. Who knows?
But what you say, though, when you have 10, let's say you have 10 investigators doing it for the right reason, it's a passion, and they're doing it for true, authentic evidence. Yeah. You have 30 more, but that want to have an adrenaline rush. They're in it for the fun. They see it on TV. They want to be a part of it.
Adventure. Yep.
Right. So, and that's fine. I'm not knocking them for it, because whenever I first started out, again, I didn't know exactly what I was doing. I knew I had experience as a child, and I wanted to dabble in this, but I never knew this was going to be something that
John, none of us did. None of us did.
Right. Well, and look, I'm not great. I'm not great at a lot of things, but this is one thing I'm actually good at. So this is what I truly enjoy.
Cool.
But yeah, but science itself, scientists and geophysicists and people that we've chatted with over the years, they're intrigued just as much. Even if they don't tell you they are intrigued, because some of the things that we've captured, they can't give us a rational response or reasoning. And that's what we wanted to do with the House in Between, is we wanted to invite people in to give us rational reasons of what's happening in Alice's house. And it's neat to see when they're like, I don't know. If this isn't fake, I don't know. So it's neat to see that.
John, but sorry to interrupt again, but isn't that what we want? We want them to ponder on this stuff. We want them, we're looking for explanations. So what you're trying to do here is gain that from them and say, hey, you ain't got any information. That kind of puts it on the plus side that it's paranormal and we have no explanation. This is what we're looking for.
Right, and I think that's what the House in Between, because Alice's house, what I consider now is a case study, and I always say it's kind of like a puzzle. Like we're putting pieces together, but it's like,
oh my God, I like.
They're still like,
he's great, because that's how I talk. They're puzzles. You get puzzle pieces. You gotta put them together.
Right, but there's still there's like 15 pieces in the house that are scattered somewhere. We just can't find them yet, but we're gonna keep looking. Yeah,
but we're gonna keep looking. That's right.
I love this guy. Oh my God.
He's married, Teddy. He's married.
Hey, I don't care. We can still be best buds.
Yeah, you can be best friends.
That's it. There you go. So now Bob has a question. He wants to know, but who is they? I'm guessing you're just talking about random people in the field that have experience and knowledge that you may not have, correct?
Right. So who is they? I wonder if he's talking about like the spirits that I'm talking about in the house, or
Bob, be a little more specific with your question. Barry March says, who knows? They may set up professional standards for paranormal investigating. I'm 50-50 on this. I think the majority of paranormal, I think a lot of people are. I think they're kind of like,
I don't know if I'd want licensure, to be honest, because I mean, do I have to go through schooling? Do I have it? But because the problem with when we standardize it and now we have schooling, who the fuck is teaching us? There may be some crazy ass mofos that are teaching. No, I don't.
Let me somebody that doesn't have
Could
the
you
experience
imagine
as well.
ZB?
Yeah, let me
Could
answer
you
that.
imagine ZB being the trainer?
No.
So let me
What?
answer that. So I'll address that. So I absolutely think that we can never standardize it, because you have to understand every investigator does their own thing, and certain things work for different investigators. So part of my book that I did, shameless plug.
Well, that's a big
so
book.
part of my book,
Please.
it is a big book. And by the way, I'm going to
Put it closer so we can see it right up there. I love that cover. That's cool.
So I want to know, is it big reading though? I mean, is it big letters? If you write like me, I've got to know. Look at that. He writes like me too.
So, all right, two things. I'm going to get to the book, but let me get back to. There we go. So let me go. So the equipment. So going back to standardizing it, you can never standardize what we do, because every investigator has their own niche and their own way of investigating. Like how I investigate, I have success with it, and that's why I write about it in my book, how I've had success. So, and this is not a paranormal handbook, but it kind of is. If somebody wants to read it and get some ideas and how to be efficient, like one of the chapters is structured investigations, and it tells you how to be efficient with investigating, because it sucks going in there not knowing what you're doing, because you can waste a lot of time and a lot of energy. So it's just a little tidbits. But for example, let's just talk about a REM pod real quick. So, there's people who and here's the thing, people like devices, people don't like devices. So with a REM pod, I'm going to bring this up specifically. Hear me out. So you have to know your equipment. Right. What's the purpose behind it? Who built it? What are the things that give you false triggers? And what are you and what your intentions are with it? Because I know that like walkie-talkies and key fobs and this, that, and the other give us false readings. However, think about using it as a visual aid. If you're setting it up away from all that and you take those things out of it and you're capturing an EVP, you have a baseball fall down the stairs and you're getting a REM pod hit, boom, boom, boom. You want to connect those dots to make your evidence more valid and authentic. So the REM pod, for example, has a place, but you can't rely on that solely. You can't just watch the REM pod and just say it's going off, oh, there must be a ghost. So again, you have to understand the tools that are in the field. Some of them have purposes, but they all have flaws. So you have to research and understand and educate yourself, just like anything that you be doing. If you're metal detecting, understand the tools that you're using and when it's giving you readings and stuff like that. So as a paranormal investigator, you have to educate yourself on every tool that you use, and they all have purposes, but you can't rely on one thing.
Agreed.
I agree.
And validation, especially when you get 2 or 3 pieces of equipment that can validate each other as it's going along, that's the best way to go. I've said that a million times. You cannot just take one. It's like the dreaded K2. I mean, you just can't put that out there and say, oh my God, it's a ghost. I'm sorry. You need validation. You need other pieces of equipment going off or an experience or something to validate it or validate it or point towards it. I had the hardest time not using psychic mediums as well, usually because you cannot validate what they're telling you. Okay.
Right.
Unless you go back and you do the history and you start looking into things and what, where it points and so on and so forth. We here at Paratalk Radio, we preach this all the time. A, the best equipment you have is yourself. B, a flashlight, a recorder is probably the best tools that you can have, especially starting out, because your personal experiences do help validate, and they are something you want to pay attention to. If you're going to go out and do this stuff as a professional, as they say, or somebody that's really into the field, somebody that wants to validate stuff, even if you just want to go out and get scared shitless, whatever you want to do, be aware of all the things there. I mean, within the location that you're at, no running, no alone, so on and so forth. And your tools, just make sure that you're comfortable with them and you educate yourself on them. And for the biggest thing with me is, if you're going to do this, educate, learn. Know that you are not the person that knows it all. There's always somebody that has something that you don't know. And I say it 100 times. Everybody has something to bring to the table. Everybody. So I don't care if you've been doing this 50 years or 2 years. Everybody has something that can be used to help this field, if that's what you want to call it, a field.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, the biggest thing is stay humble. There's absolutely nothing that you've done is better than anybody else. You may have gotten lucky and stumbled on something, or like Alice's house. It's a blessing that Steve came along. We were able to do this documentary, and it's really neat because I think it helps the field, and that's the biggest thing. Is I think this film helps the field, and it shows what we're doing to do our due diligence and show credibility with investigating, right? And the same thing that I've talked about in the book is, like you said, you have to understand what you're doing, and and again, audio is one of my favorite things. Capturing a clean, silent EVP is beautiful. And I use analog and I use digital. And a lot of people, your fingerprints are unique, right? So when you get arrested, they fingerprint you. But your vocal tone itself is unique as well. So if you're capturing, for example, there's a male and a female at the house between Alice's house. The male has a deep vocal tone. The female has a light vocal tone. We've been able to document and recreate those same voices over a decade. So for a skeptic,
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. So for a skeptic to come in, that's totally fine. But you have to have a conversation, and that's one of my biggest sentences that I always say is you just have to have a conversation. I'm never going to try to push my beliefs on anybody. All I want to do is show that what we've captured and what we have validated, if you don't believe it, then just tell me why you don't believe it, because you can't just say it's fake. Because if it's not fake, then you have to have some kind of rationality of what it is, right? Yeah.
You have to have an open mind. You have to go into these places too thinking, you know what, we may get something, we may not get something. You can't think that it's haunted as soon as you get there. I mean, there's so many things when you go into these places that people set themselves up for it. And they come out with false positives, or they come out with false information, or they come out with nothing, and then they get all mad and upset. This place ain't haunted, blah, blah, blah. But, I think we beat our fans up a lot here. We beat them up a lot.
I hear little kids.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi.
Say hello.
What's your name?
I got my earpods. His name's Ian.
Ian, what does he have on his shirt?
He has a shark on his shirt.
A shark? I miss my boys being that little.
Say hello.
Bill says sometimes team members specialize, one on audio, one on video, and that's your primary, then buy the good stuff.
That's what I was giggling about because I read Bill's comment. Sorry, you guys. I figured that if I just got this, then I could take it on and off because I'm having hot and cold flashes.
So over here on one of the other feeds, we actually have Bonnie Swift in here that made the comment about, Bonnie. And she said her daughter was born June 25th, 1985. That makes her, the same age as well.
Yep.
Kimberly Ann is watching, and Bonnie says to Ian, what a little cutie. And then Suzette Dixon is also watching. Hello.
Hey, Suzette.
Yeah, that is my little fruit fly from my job. I call her fruit fly.
Cute.
Yeah, he just learned how to open door handles. So my wife just came in busting in the door with a owl look on her face. She didn't realize he came in the room. So anyway, she just had to lock the doorknob. So I heard the doorknob turning. So he just learned how to open doors. So
that's so cute. How old is he?
He's 2. He'll be 3 in March. So he's a Pisces. Wow. My wife's a Pisces. We're a whole house full of Pisces.
Oh my gosh!
House full of fish.
Yeah.
Well, you'll never be hungry. I mean, no. That's cannibalism. Never mind.
There's a lot of emotions in this house.
Yes,
I bet.
And intuition.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and so my wife, she met me. I was probably in the field for 5 or 6 years when I met her. So, I thought I was all cool because I'd been on Ghost Adventures one time. So I was like, I've been on TV. I do ghost hunting, on our first date. But she's a great singer, all this stuff. But anyway, so she started doing the paranormal with me, and she just had this natural instinct. It's neat to see people jump in the field who just kind of have that natural ability. So she's a nurse, and she does hospice. So she's always been around people who are dying and passing. It's a very, very, very special person to do what she does. But
exactly.
It's neat to hear the stories that she's had personally about people who are passing over, the things they say, and the people they're talking to who aren't in the room. So it's neat to hear her perspective and kind of merging her into the world that I'm into. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we interviewed Dr. Cobol. I can never say his name. Cobol, whatever. God, I can't remember his last name. But anyways, he was a doctor, and he wrote a book on all the experiences from other doctors in emergency rooms and all that stuff, the people that were passing.
His and his colleagues, and
Yes.
it was like the subject that nobody wants to talk about, especially in the medical field, but they have a lot of them.
But it was amazing stuff. Amazing
It was
stuff. Kalbalba. Kalaba.
Oh, hang on.
I can never say his name. But I just want to pop this up here for John. I don't know if you saw it, but Bob Brunell, he said, I bought your documentary and crossed all your T's and dotted all your I's, impressed with the length that you went to validate your evidence.
Yeah, I saw that. I thought it was pretty great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And that, that was the initial feedback. I think when people first saw the trailer and saw Paranormal, they always want like a jump scare. So the initial knee-jerk reaction was like, where's all there? Because there wasn't a ton of investigating in the documentary. So we understand that because we show you the things that we've documented because we've been doing it for over a decade. So we have footage that's been stored. What we wanted to do was talk to Alice, kind of build her story. And then the coolest thing about the house in between is to see Alice, the homeowner, be embarrassed and shy and just she didn't want to talk about it. We're in Mississippi, it's still the Bible Belt, it's not something that you go tell everybody like, hey, my house is haunted, But to see her confidence grow with people who support her, not only from like the United States, but around the world who have sent her messages, letters, and stuff like that. So to see her move forward and to try to get back in the house slowly, that's been, because that's what your goal is whenever you take on private residence, is to help whoever you're dealing with.
Correct.
And it's been a long road. It's exhausting, but it's also very rewarding, and we've captured some really cool stuff along the way.
So let me ask you, John, has she actually moved back into the home?
She is not. Not fully. She goes there more than she used to. Like she'll go hang out during the day. She'll check the mail, and but when nighttime comes around, she does not stay at the house. Yeah, she does, and it's not to be dramatic because like obviously she would love to stay there because her other house is like half an hour away. So like if it's 7, 8 o'clock, whatever, before it gets totally dark, she'll leave and have to drive home. And somebody's asked me before, like, are you scared of the house? And my response is, I'm not necessarily scared of her house, but you learn to respect what the house can do. So, I've experienced some very dramatic things in the house. One of the most dramatic things that had happened, if you watch the documentary, you'll see there's a chandelier in the living room and it'll drain on command. We've had it checked out and all this good stuff. Wow. But the first time that it did it, I was doing an EVP session with sitting in a chair with my back to the chandelier, and all the other lights in the house were off. I had 2 people in the house with me, and I asked for 2 names, and I just felt a shock to the back of my neck. It went from my neck down, my neck down to my back, and I ended up on the floor on my knee. It sounds super dramatic, but the chandelier had drained, and that was the first time it ever happened. I didn't realize at the same time that the light went black. So it was totally dark in the house. Wow. So it's one of those things you always tell people is like, you never want to have it happen again, but then you definitely want to have it happen again,
Right.
And
right.
So that's what kind of got us to focus on the light and kind of say, okay, well, you did that once. Can you recreate it and create a pattern? Because I think that's one of the biggest things too in the paranormal field is if we can create patterns to show the validity of it happening over again on command, that kind of, it helps it stand alone on itself. And that's what we've been doing at the house in between.
Yep. So I'm going to throw in here, Bonnie Swift said over here on the other feed, she says, I had a lot of weird stuff happen when I worked in the ICU, especially with this one guy, she said. So she's seen things as well. So it's funny how, not funny, but, it's one of those things that you work in a place where you see death as well as life and the things that happen sometimes, and homes. I mean, I've done mostly residential. So within my experiences, I can tell you there's things that, and I've had people come up to me all the time and say, hey, all the stuff that you do, what's the worst thing you ever saw? What's the scariest thing you ever saw? And I usually tell them, I go, hey, it's not that it's scary. It's not that it's the worst thing. But what I can tell you is that out of all the cases that I've done, a good 90% of them has been I've been able to explain. There's only a small pile where I look and I say, I do not have an explanation for this. And I never close those files. I leave those files open so that I can go back to them at another time, or somebody that's had that experience can go back with me and you know, go through it. Anybody that has something that I have not experienced, you know, or no experience in, can go back and help me with it. And I think that's overall, I would like to see more teams do that. You know, keep their files that they can't explain and bring other people in and say, hey, have you ever dealt with this? You know, what is this?
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. You know,
I'm
get
glad
those
what you
answers.
do. Yeah.
Well, same thing. And look, kudos, you know, to both of you for doing private residences, because that
It's
takes a
not,
lot.
it's not easy.
No, and I know it takes a toll on you. It really does. And again, it's not to sound dramatic, but it is. You're dealing with somebody one-on-one in their home where they live, and they've gotten to the point where they're okay opening the door to bring strangers in to talk about ghosts and spirits. Like, whether it is or whether it isn't, in their mind it is. So it's our job to come in and be professional and try to help them the best way we can.
And most of these people, I mean, that we've worked on with some of these extreme cases, they are so scared out of their wits. And they are like, you know, I just want it out of here. I want my home. I want, you know, and so you feel the empathy for them. You do your best. And one thing that I've always tried to make a point of saying is, like, please don't go into somebody's home and say that you fixed it after an 8-hour investigation and then you just leave, because those people still have to live there. You don't. You know, so, you know, you need to bring in people that can help you. And it takes more than one time to go in a location. It really does. You know? Yeah.
And like I said, you know, if you want to travel and hit your bucket list places and get those experiences as an investigator, great. Because I did that too. And I've written about some of them in my book. Like, you know, Villiscax Murder House was amazing. It had some awesome stuff happen there. But Villisca Axe Murder House in Villisca, Iowa.
Oh, yes. Yes. I want to go there. That's one of them on my bucket list.
Okay.
Yeah, no.
No, but seriously, though, you know,
it does scare me to think about some of these places, to be honest.
It does. And I hadn't had a lot of negative things happen. Somebody always asked me, where's one place you'll never go back to? And that is the place for me. I had some really negative stuff happen there. And I think it just could have been the time, could have been my personality. I don't know, but that was one of the worst experiences I ever had as an investigator. If I had that experience everywhere I go, I wouldn't do the field. So I personally will never go back there. I'm just not interested in it. But what we're saying though, but that was only a small batch investigation because I hadn't gone back there, so I don't know. So I think overall, if we have the ability to, we should visit places multiple times to gather more data, even just for our own well-being.
Yeah. But that's actually what you just said about that place. It's actually it's not just you that says it. There's a lot of people that actually feel that negative vibe from that Villisca Axe House murder place.
Okay, so I have a couple.
It's the property too, because there's the house, but then there's also another house next to it or something, and then the barn is behind it, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I've never woke up screaming before, and there's some vigils. So real quick, just a shameless plug on the book again. So I wrote this book. Let me tell you. So I don't read a lot. So I wrote this book as an easy read, and I wanted to be heavy visuals, which there's a lot of visuals in the book. I was going to try to find Villisca's. Let's see if I can find it real quick. So I'll put this up there. So this is the Villiscax Murder House. That's me on the bed right there.
Oh, Jesus, yes.
So anyway, really cool thing about social media. My artist is actually from Chile. So I knew
amazing.
So I wanted the book to be heavy visual. And I had a whole 2 or 3 pages of paragraphs of experience that I had that I wanted to turn into visuals. And I could not find anybody in Mississippi. So I searched on social media and I talked to a few people in California, one person in New York, and we just didn't hit it off. Randomly, I found this guy in Chile and we just hit it off. And we have 33 original pieces of art in this book, and we never talked on the phone. it was either email or through Instagram, and we were able to create everything in the book. So like this is Doppelganger. Doppelganger is a chapter in the book. And that's the whole thing with the paranormal supernatural. That is an interesting topic that I don't think people talk about enough. But anyway, so really, really interesting.
That's
and
very
again,
cool.
I'm going to send y'all a copy so y'all can take a look at it.
Oh, well, thank you.
I'm so excited.
Check it out.
Okay, so I got a couple things here to say. One, Bonnie Swift, she came back with the story to finish her ICU experience. She said, he jumped out of bed screaming, "They are trying to kill me and I don't want to go." We got him in a chair to put him back in bed, and as soon as we did, his eyes rolled up and he was gone. We tried to resuscitate him, but I said whoever came for him got him. He's, so that's one thing. Bob over here, he said, so refreshing to see a paranormal film that was not shot and directed by Hollywood. The shock and awe of those films just do not compare to a real documentary with real evidence.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Well, and that goes back to Kendall, Welton, and Vera. Let me just give a full shout out to them. Red Light Ninja Media is their company, but Kendall's cinematography skills to be able to piece it together. And Corey Frost is our editor, and he's actually an Emmy-nominated editor. He does a lot of sports stuff, but he also obviously can do paranormal stuff as well.
That's cool.
But to be able to, he is. But to be able to take as much footage as they shot and then compact it into like an hour and a half and to tell a fluid story and Kendall's cinematography, look, it's all about who you hang around because he makes us look really good, for sure. So,
Bill Davis wanted to make a response and say, "I let strangers in my house to talk about ghosts and witches and shit." Okay.
I love that. That is hysterical. I have been known to do the same kind of stuff.
Yeah. Bob says, "Love Kendall and Vera."
Yes, Kendall and Vera are absolutely amazing. And by the way, witches and stuff. So there's a backstory with me. When I was a child, I had a reoccurring dream of a witch. So that I'm all about some witches and stuff. But a really cool story about that.
That's amazing.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, guys, you need two things. You need to watch his movie, send us what you think of it, and then, of course, get his book and tell us what you think of that too. So
that's actually 4 things. I'm just being logistical.
Okay. I'm a redneck. Okay. This is the way it comes out. Deal with it. Barry Martz, it could still be loved ones that got him. Maybe his protection was the angel of death. That may not look appealing. Barry. All right. So we're getting close to our first break.
Or it could be dead loved ones that they thought should have gone to hell.
I put this up when we first came in, because guys, if you want a really cool book too, just something to kind of pass the time, believe it or not, I found this at Dollar General.
What? That's
at Dollar General. They once in a while you'll find some really funky. I found that one and the Witches book.
Oh, they're magazines though, right? So it's like $15 or something for each of those magazines, right?
Actually, they're $12.99 a piece. But yeah, $14.99 for the Ghost Hunting one. But still, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's
not about the price. It's about it's not about the price. It's about the content that's in it.
True that.
And the thing is I didn't think I'd find anything like that at a Dollar General store. So,
True.
Come on, of all places,
Yeah.
Let's see. Hank Hegel, hello. Thank you for joining us. Betty, thank you for joining us. She's one of our vendors for the Parafest. So I think we're going to go 5 minutes early, get into our commercials real quick, and then get back in here, finish up with Mr. John, and talk about some more of this stuff. So get your questions together, guys. This is cool.
Ouch.
I'm enjoying this. This
is fun. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys, hang in there. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Rochester Winter Parafest is back, March 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2022. Come say hi to Naked and Afraid celebrities Melanie Elizabeth and Trent Nielsen, Haunted Case Files Jack Kenna, Monster Quest, Steve Coles, and more. This event has it all: paranormal investigators, UFO researchers, Bigfoot researchers, and even photo opportunities for the kids with Buddy the Bigfoot. Oh, okay, adults too. Come on down and get a tattoo from Ink Master Tony DeVille. There are psychic gallery and individual readings, as well as radio personalities, authors, jewelry, makeup artists, and so much more. It's only $15 per person, and children under 10 are free. March 25th, 26th, and 27th of 2022. For more information, go to WLFE-DB.com. Yes, Winter Parafest is back. Valley Oak Event Center, Geneseo, New York, next to Denny's.
Try again, buddy. Try again. Yay! Okay. Oh yeah! Good job. Oh.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.
All right, so now we're back to our program, as they say. There was one more thing I wanted to bring up because, you know, that this weekend is the opening weekend for the Paraunity Expo. It's the 7th annual in New Jersey. Make sure you go check it out. Join our friends John and Chris over there, and all of our friends that are going to be there as well. And that's just, I wish we were going this year, but we weren't. So, but that's okay. You know,
I know.
A lot of fun.
I'm really sad about it.
Our boy Steve's going to be there.
I pitched to John. I said, John, you need to think about going to some more events. You know, you need to get out.
I know. I need to get out of my house and actually get in the car and go to some of these events. I agree.
Yeah. Well, see, you know, I know it's a long drive, but Winter Parafest, that's in the middle of March. Well, end of March. There you go. Yes. Just bring some thermal underwear. You'll be fine.
Right, because Mississippi is a lot warmer than upstate New York.
Oh, yes.
That is very true. Yeah, when I went to Villisca, it was in December, and I'm like, why did I go to Iowa in December?
Why?
I'm an idiot. I don't know. Yeah, I don't do the smartest things. Yeah.
It happens. So,
yeah.
There we go.
See, it keeps getting warm and cold.
I know. I thought I saw I thought I saw a fan on you, and then you get the blanket. I'm like, it's like a conundrum. I'm confused. Like, what's happening over here?
It is. So it's called hot flashes.
I don't know, but the shirt looks good on you, Cindy. I really am glad you got it on.
It's so fun. I decided
You're rocking it.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, let's see what we got over here.
More static electricity in the winter.
Yeah. Let's see. That is a good question.
Barry, I want to ride with you, Barry.
Okay, Barry. And we apparently missed that somewhere, but so Barry's going to New Jersey Paraunity. That's cool.
Yeah, he said I'll be heading to the New Jersey Paraunity. I'm like, I'm gonna stow away.
Well, make sure you tell everybody we said hi. So you know we won't be there, unfortunately. So
yeah.
But you know, the whole movie thing, I think that's great. In fact, I'm going to take the time after we get off of here and I'm going to watch it.
See, that's what I was doing. I was actually checking on Amazon Prime because you can rent it or own it. I think it's
It is on Amazon Prime? Okay.
It is on Prime. It's $3.99 to rent it. It's $7.99 to own it on Amazon.
Oh, yeah. I can watch it too, right on Prime. Yeah, I can watch it.
Yeah. And it was like, I think it said that there are $2.99 options actually as well. If you have for rental, if you have SD. Standard
That's cool.
digital. I don't know.
You have to see the. You have to see this in HD. You can't see this in SD. It's all messed up. So make sure you get HD.
I know. That's what I was like. HD is $3.99 to rent it. So do it.
There you go.
I mean, just spend the $4 more and buy it. You can watch it.
Yeah, you don't need that candy. You don't need that pop. You know,
That's right.
Watch the movie.
Two Starbucks coffees.
Yeah,
actually,
for sure.
1.5 Starbucks coffees. Come on, let's be real here.
Well,
it'd be 4 of my teas.
4 of your teas, yes.
Yeah, and whoever watches it, definitely give us feedback. Let us know what you think about it, because I'm always intrigued by people's responses from it. And again, it's so different from anything else that's been put out and how it's put together. And the biggest thing is, and the most unique thing is, which we're excited about, is people want more. They want to know what happens. And I'm not gonna give spoilers. But if everybody keeps watching The House in Between and keeps hyping it up, then what we want to be able to do is tell Alice's story, because just like you said, you can't fix a private residence in 8 hours.
Right.
Well, you can't show an entire documentary that you've done in 10 years in an hour and a half. So there's so much more that's happened since obviously we were at filming. We're still actively investigating the house. Alice is still not inside the house. And we have had the most dramatic stuff happen in the last year and a half. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's just like it's propelled forward in a very unique way. So I won't go into detail and give spoilers, but it's the whole teaching the spirits concept. I always
Can I ask a weird question?
There's no weird questions. Look what we're doing.
Well, it gets weird when I start getting visions. Yes. Okay, what does a person with an axe mean to you?
Oh God.
Is this?
That can mean it.
Well, I don't. This is because we weren't talking about Velisca, so I know it's not that. Okay, was there a man with an axe in the area of Alice's house? Because that's what you were just talking about when it just happened.
So I will say that there's 2 dominant spirits attached to the property. One is a man and one is a female. So if you're talking about an axe and the man, that could definitely be conjoined together. So the Steen family actually found in Florence. So Florence, Mississippi is a very small town in Mississippi. Mississippi is full of small towns in itself, but Florence is a tiny town, right? And the town burned twice.
I don't have very good. My tummy isn't feeling very well when you just mentioned Florence.
Yeah. So the town burned twice. So the historical lady who's in the documentary, if you watch the trailer, she's a very old lady at the front. She's like 96. So she has the most old, some of the oldest records in the town, but it literally burned twice. So they rebuilt it, and they rebuilt it facing west, I think, after it burned twice. But yes, it's interesting that you say that, and we can talk off camera too. But yeah, that was interesting. I'll say that.
All right, Cindy.
I can't help it, Teddy.
I'll say this: the man that's associated with the property is not a nice man.
No, I agree with that. No, I definitely agree. I felt that when you first started talking about it. I totally felt him the whole entire time.
Yeah.
But I just thought it was odd that he showed me an axe. I was literally seeing an axe being carried around.
Yeah. Very, very interesting. I will say that. Stay tuned, kids. There's more.
But wait, there's more.
Oh my gosh.
So what you have is such a true skill set, though. So I have met, and let's get back on the topic real quick of mediums and clairvoyance,
Yeah.
right? And there's been people, small batch that I've interacted with that are just truly talented, and they don't do it for publicity. They don't do it for fame. They do it because it's just something that comes natural to them, and they just help people. And I've been able to meet a handful of people like that, and it's so incredible. And I hate you for it because I'm so jealous that I can't do it.
Listen,
But on the flip
I wouldn't wish it on anybody at times, right?
But on the flip side, I have witnessed and seen people being swindled. I have seen even somebody coming into Alice's house one time, and I've seen somebody trying to take advantage of her. I stood in the corner. They didn't know that I was watching. I obviously let her know after the fact, but it's the same thing with the paranormal field. You have people who do it for the right reasons, but then you have everybody who wants to consider themselves, So anyway, so kudos to you and having that skill set and using it for the right reasons. And if you watch the documentary, this is one thing I'll point out to kind of give you the peek through the veil. There's a old clip of me in the documentary kind of showing some of the stuff that I've done over the years. I had the Justin Bieber hair swoop. So this is the old video. But I was testing out a camera in a cemetery actually, and we captured a little boy's voice, and I hear it like my naked ear hears it, like somebody talking to me. But I had 3 other people around me, and nobody else heard it but myself. So that's it's cool. I captured that on film randomly though, because it kind of shows what I'm talking about when I say a peek through the veil. I can't hone what I have. I don't know how to, make it more consistently, but it just things come to me naturally, and that's kind of what pulled me into the field. So just a visual representation on film that I got lucky to catch to show people what I'm talking about.
Right. And I feel like the more you use it, the better it gets, right?
Yes.
So I'm all about practicing. I was never trained. Like everything that I do, I learned myself. And the only thing that it was just repetition, or I heard something that another psychic medium could do, and I'm like, oh, I wonder if I could do that. And then I do it, and I'm like, okay, I can do that too.
Yeah,
it's really by just playing with it, really.
It is. Well, and that's the same thing in the field as an investigator. Is you got to try stuff out, and for example, Florence burned twice, right? So we have EVPs in Alice's house.
Every time you say that, I just want you to know I hear screaming every time you say that.
I understand. I do understand that. So again, check out the house in between. I think that'll give you some more insight. But we've captured EVPs throughout the years of I can't breathe, it's hot, this, that, and the other. So we do feel like there was a fire on property. So as investigators recently, I'm a big Halloween guy. Who knew? Obviously.
Me too.
But so we took one of my fog machines that I have for Halloween and we put it inside the house. So we simulated a house fire. So we wanted to do that as a trick, and we want to be respectful, but we're trying to get a reaction, right? So we documented what EVPs we got, and we got some really cool stuff. Again, I won't go into detail, but it's neat to kind of think outside the box and learn your location, learn what could have happened there, and then put it into play. Signal. We were screaming like there was a fire, there's fog in the house, and it was cool to see the reaction that we got.
That's amazing. You just plugged Teddy's book, by the way. It's Think Outside the Paranormal Box.
Thank you.
Me and Teddy are best friends.
That's right.
That's right.
Screen high five.
There you go.
It's like stepbrothers. It's like, did we just become best friends?
There you go.
Did we just become best friends?
There you go.
That was one of my favorite moments in that movie.
Robert White. Mr. Robert from Australia, outside the fire bucket.
I like it.
Cindy, what happens at the end of the
I don't
documentary?
want to for anybody.
There you go.
They didn't tell me the ending.
That's good.
I mean, obviously,
you have to figure
there
it out
is
on
no
your
ending. Own. It's an open end because it's.
But you'll see. I'll tell you. Watch the documentary, and a good example. So I call Alice's house the paranormal Powerball because I do believe and I do truly feel that there is a male and a female spirit that is attached to that property that understands that we're trying to help them to solve whatever happened on that property and to help Alice. And when we need them to react and respond to us, they do not let us down. And I know it sounds crazy, but I always say it's crazy until it's not. And also,
I want to go there.
another thing that I always say is the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over again and expecting different results, except in the paranormal field, because you have to have patience. You have to do your due diligence. And for example, there's a baseball that's highlighted in the film. So the stairwell in her house is a high traffic area. That's where I first saw the shadow figure. Okay. So
you're making me nauseous again.
I'm sorry. So what after the chandelier, is it my face? No, I'm just kidding. So after the chandelier,
Ooh, just got hot again too.
After the chandelier, we wanted to focus on the stairwell because we knew that was a high traffic area of activity. So we put a baseball on the stairs because it's heavy. It obviously shouldn't roll. So if I put a baseball on the stairs of my house, it's not haunted. There's no activity. So it should sit there until somebody kicks it down, right? And we also did a baseball because it has stitching on both sides. So if it does move, we can have a visual pinpoint of if it's turning left or right, we see something on the ball.
Right.
And we set the baseball there. We did that for 6 months. Okay. That doesn't seem like a long time, but it's a long time to do that every day and watch cameras and pull up the footage and see it sitting there and sitting there and sitting there and sitting there until one day, holy crap, the ball just propelled down the stairs. And then we set it up there, and guess what? It started doing it on command.
Okay,
so
I need to ask questions again.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm literally seeing a staircase. I'm seeing wood stair railing, but then I'm seeing a like it's landing, but I'm seeing the staircase going up this way and the landing this way. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay, why am I seeing something black over here?
Let me see if I can hold your horses there just a minute.
Okay, but also, is there a woman that has blonde hair or white hair that's related to the house?
Well, Alice, the homeowner, has blonde hair.
Perfect. I keep seeing a blonde-haired woman.
And she is the thing is with the house is it scares Alice, and there's lights that happen that really just kind of put her over the top because she didn't understand exactly what that was, whether it was something interdimensional or something like that. But the entities in the house, though, I'll tell you, do love Alice. They love her.
Okay, is there a chandelier that has a circle, but it's kind of open in the center? Do you understand what I mean? Like, it looks like if I look up, so if I look at my ring light, it's got a perfect circle, but then I feel like there may be something in the center of it as well. Do you understand that?
I do. Yep, I sure do. 1 second here. So
okay, why do I feel nauseous going into, like, I feel like there's a dining room area and I'm feeling nauseous.
See the chandelier right there?
Oh.
How it's open kind of in the center?
Yes, I do. It's different than how I was seeing it in my head, though.
Yeah. And then let me show you.
Oh, God, I'm really nauseous right now.
So they're like, we're never having him back on.
Can I say this? Your guy is really strong.
Yeah, that for the batch of people who I've talked to, that is the consensus is yes.
Okay, do you understand if I feel like he's standing in the middle of the stairway?
Uh-huh. So so when you say black, so that's one of the first things. Like I said, I saw a shadow figure in her house. It was a black mass moving her up her stairwell, and throughout the years I've been at her house, there's been probably 12 to 15 different people who have seen a black mass up her stairwell, and that's kind of why we focused on that area.
I just keep seeing him standing in the middle of it. I'm not seeing a black mass. I'm seeing him standing in the middle of the staircase.
Do you see any?
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Any? No. Do you see any physical features that you could tell, like a hat or a mustache or glasses or fat, skinny, anything like that?
His nose seems very like this area seems very predominant to me. Like if I saw a picture of him, especially his nose, I'd be like, that's him. But I also feel like his eyebrows and nose would be very I feel like I would know him if I saw pictures of him and I could pick him out.
So he is the one spirit that people have seen on the property.
And I'm also seeing like a flannel shirt or jacket or something. That's weird to me.
Yeah. She tapped in. I love it.
Okay. So I know you said Mississippi, but I shouldn't be feeling like a basement or something, but I feel like a basement or something.
See, that's the hard thing is we don't know because the town burned and all the records burned. So we don't know exactly the dwelling that was on that land before. We know the family who owned that land. We know who they are, but we don't know exactly what was on that property.
It's weird. Because I keep feeling like open the hatch and go down in there. Open the hatch and get down in there. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Means.
It makes sense, though, to me. We can talk off camera, I guess. I mean, and one thing we've talked about with the house in between, obviously, because it's not rocket science, the house was built in the 90s. It's not a house that's on its land, for sure. There's the heartbeat is the land.
Okay, I keep seeing green, and I keep seeing green grass, but then I go inside, and I'm seeing green inside, too. Do you understand that?
Mm-hmm. That's fair. There's no unibrows here.
Let's see here.
I'm trying to push him away for right now. Sorry.
You know, go ahead.
No. You go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I'm really interested in seeing this documentary, this movie.
Me too. Obviously, yeah. I am now. Now I'm scared though.
What? So I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one thing. So one of my favorite parts of the documentary, because I didn't see the full film, obviously, because when the medium came, Steve does not like mediums, as you know. So he got this medium. He did not tell a soul. Kendall, Vera, nobody knew who it was. Steve contacted her and said, I have something for you to do. We're going to pay you to come do it, but I'm not telling you anything. And Steve had her, he knew when she was coming in on a flight. He picked her up. He drove her to the house. Nobody was allowed to be there. He removed everything. And what
I
you'll
love that.
see,
That's exactly how I work.
Yeah.
That's exactly how I work.
What you'll see in the film and what you're feeling is connected. So when you see it, you're going to be like, holy crap. And there's one thing that happened in the film, and I'm not going to spoil it, but when she was inside the house when it happened, it instantly gave me full chill bumps. Goosebumps everywhere, and it's hard for me to have that happen because I've been in the house forever. Look, I've been in the house for over a decade, and what happened with her in the house when they had her film has never happened since I've been in the house. And I know how thick and real it was, and when she came in the house felt her energy, and it reacted to her.
Okay, does that medium have dark hair?
It's weird because yes and no.
That's okay because so they just showed me a woman with dark hair and some loose curl, longer hair, and as I was saying it, I had the chills.
Yeah, it changes. So yes and no for that. But yeah, I want y'all, and seriously, when you watch it, let me know what y'all think. Like, what your full
Yeah.
reaction is after you watch it.
I'm really
I will.
intrigued because now with all this stuff with Cindy, it just makes it more like I definitely
Yeah.
got to watch this now.
I can't help it, especially when we have guests on here that have any relation to a house. I can't help it. It just is me, and I go into the house. I can be remote. It doesn't matter, and I will get things. Okay, I'm supposed to bring up the bathroom now.
Okay.
They just said that. Do you understand why I have to bring up the bathroom?
More recently, yes.
Okay. And so this is obviously, so it doesn't matter if I watch it. This is just validation for you. You understand that, right?
Yep. Yeah. And this is why I find it fascinating, because you're just.
Oh, that's funny. Wait, you've had peaking energy too? Like, do you know what I mean? Oh, did he freeze?
No, I'm here.
Oh, okay. So like if you have a wall and all of a sudden you see somebody peeking, do you understand what I mean?
Yep.
Okay, there's
Yep.
kids there?
There are. There are.
Yeah, they just showed me the kids now.
Yeah. So we're actively, and this is the only thing I'll say, we're actively trying to do something right now. So we're in the process of that right now. So we're actively working on something way out of the box right now. Actively.
It just makes me want to go down there for real to see it in real life. You understand
Yeah.
that?
And it's one of the locations I don't ever want to hype it up. It just is what it is. Like I never want to hype it
I
up.
understand it.
Yeah. But hey, it's kept me intrigued for over a decade, and I have a short term. Honestly, and I've told people this also. I've gotten almost burnt out of the field a little bit. Like there's, a lot of locations I want to do. I validated a lot of stuff for me personally. So at some point, we have 4 kids. I'm married and I have a full-time job. And, if I could make full-time money doing paranormal, I would do it.
Hell yeah.
Everybody would.
And look,
but it's just
look, and there's a chapter in my book. It's called Paranormal Pursuit. And I love this chapter because, I'm never going to apologize for for having success in the field, right? I'm excited that the House in Between had the success that it did. If I was able to do a TV show and I could do this as a full-time job, then I would do it, and it helps you as an investigator put your information out there. And when I say a TV show or something like that, the reason I say that is because I would be able to travel to locations that I couldn't do normally with my normal daytime job. And to have resources to kind of put out the things that I want to do to share the investigator that I am. So don't ever be embarrassed or ashamed about having success, whether it's a podcast, whether it's you're an investigator on a TV show, this, that, and the other. Like if this is your passion, just like any passion, if you're a cook and you get a cooking show, are you going to be ashamed to have a cooking show, to do something you love? So, if you're in the field for the right reasons, it will translate to film. Or to TV, or to whatever you do. Bring it on.
Okay, do you understand that there's an invisibility shield over that house?
Go on.
This is the only way I can explain it or describe it. So if it feels or looks like an invisibility shield to me, but also it could actually be like a time shift thing.
So let me tell you this. Okay, so with the different mediums that we brought in the field or into the house from all over the country, the small batch of people that I actually give credibility to, and I'll give a shout out real quick. Rachel Lang, she's absolutely incredible. So she actually just put a book out, but she's truly amazing. I think she's in California. I don't know where she lives now, but she's awesome. But the consensus on the house from people who've never met each other is that Alice's house is somewhat of a spirit hotel, as in entities come and they gather energy. They gather energy before they cross over. That's kind of the shift of the house. So every time we go in the house, and it kind of makes sense to me as an investigator, because when we go in the house, the energy is different a lot of times when we go in there. Sometimes it's more aggressive, sometimes it's more relaxed, and there's different voices that we've captured throughout the years, but there's still always that deep male and the light female. And that's why I feel like they died on the property and they're still on the property somewhere. But yeah, it's over 6 or 7 different mediums who I truly do trust throughout the 10-year process who have said it's like a spirit hotel. That's the word that they keep giving. It's like a spirit hotel. It's a revolving door.
It's like, I wish I could put it into words better. I'll explain it this way. It wouldn't surprise me if you have people that have gone by the property like 1,000 times and they never saw the property. Like they never saw the house. They never saw anything. And they literally go like, oh, I've never seen that house before. You're like, how the hell have you never seen this? You go by it every day. Do you understand
That's so crazy. That's so crazy. That's crazy. So seriously, so I've been in the house.
Literally what I'm feeling.
Listen, look, I've been in the house. This is like an ongoing joke with me and Brad and all of us. I know where the house is. I've gone there for 10 years. I still today will drive by the house and have to make a U-turn to turn around to where the house is. Like, and it's not like, and it's in a neighborhood, so it's not like away or off the country. Like it's on the road.
It's like Harry Potter shit. I'm telling you right now, it's weird. Do you know the part? I don't know if you've watched all of Harry Potter. Like, do you remember if you have, there is one where it's like, where it's now like Harry has to live in the house where, but the house you can't see. And then all of a sudden when they unmagic it to make it, you're like, oh my gosh, there's the house.
Right.
But you can't, when it's invisible, it looks like it's just part of the other thing. Like, where are we going? There's no house there. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do. But like, yeah, so that's like an ongoing thing with Amy and Sabrina and Brad is like, yeah, we know where the house is, but like you will drive straight past it. And I don't know how to explain it. Like,
no,
I don't know. Like, it's frustrating to explain it, but like it's funny you say that because that's like an ongoing thing. We don't. Yeah, I don't know.
It's literally the truth, and that's why. If you don't understand it, you'll understand it because of what they made me see.
Okay, folks, I think Cindy is giving away too much.
Yeah. Well,
I'm not doing it on purpose.
Nobody's ever said that, and besides like us that go to the house all the time, we've never like said that. I don't think I've ever said that on a podcast, so it's exclusive. But that, like, yeah, like
I didn't even know who we were having on tonight. To be honest, I'm sorry. I'm a terrible co-host. I don't research anybody because of this. Because of this kind of stuff, I don't research. I don't do anything. This is authentic. I live, and if you go to look it up, it's not like you can look up. I couldn't watch the movie in those couple of minutes. Do you know what I mean? Literally, all I looked up was.
Well, and that's not in the documentary. Like what you just said, that none of that's in the documentary. We've never talked about that, but that's something we experienced as we go into the house. But that's not public.
So Bill Davis just says Cindy has us intrigued.
Well, Bill knows that I do this because Bill and I were talking, and I did what I'm doing with you, John, with one of the houses that he's investigated.
Nice, very nice. It's cool to see, but I mean, yeah, this is just authentic stuff. But yeah, we've never talked about that. But yeah, good stuff.
What's
the only reason I use Cindy is because I know how she works, and my team has never used anybody else that's been authentic as her. I guess is the word I should use.
Yeah.
She's awesome.
What's an orange ball mean to you?
Well, that's an object that is on the so we have focal points in the house. So again, what we try to do is we're creating patterns, and we're trying to show validity of like me speaking and the reaction, because we are teaching the spirits. That's a whole narrative that we're doing, like a case study.
Right.
So that would be that.
Okay. So you understand it when I'm bringing it up. Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I wanted. At least I'm not nauseous anymore.
That's the male. He's not a nice man.
No.
Cindy, what does this mean to you?
That means honk honk. Let's be silly.
Forever, that's gonna always remind me of Patch Adams now.
Patch Adams?
Yes, Patch Adams.
Yeah.
Robin Williams.
This is actually one of the things that I like to do with the paranormal. If we go do different events, I take pictures of my favorite people at these events with us wearing the noses together and then taking photos. It's just one of my little things, you know. Ooh, what was that?
That was Jet feeding our cat.
It sounded like he threw the cat.
It was Jansen. It was Jansen feeding the cat. He probably just threw the little glass jar, that little glass thing.
So let me come back and ask you a couple questions, because I myself, you know, with your book and your movie, is this something you're planning on continuing with, like you're writing another book and doing another location? Is that something that you'd like to do? I mean, for the future? I mean, you've got a lot invested in this one, but I mean, you obviously are taking the time and doing the research to bring evidence, you know what I mean, that you consider real good evidence and stuff that people are going to look at, you know what I mean, to actually say, hey, this is the crap that we normally see. This is something that's valid. So is that something you would like to continue to do yourself? I mean,
yeah. So, you know, the book is something that I've been wanting to do for 5 or 6 years. I you know, had a list of locations that really affected me personally for different reasons, and kind of shows the reason I chose the locations I chose is because it starts me as a novice investigator and it kind of propels me into where I'm at now. And there's certain really dramatic things that set that course of action. Will I ever write another book? I don't know. I'm not an author. I wanted to leave something behind.
Well, you are an author. You do have a book next to you.
Thank you. But some things I do, and I don't mean it selfishly, but kinda. So I wanted my family and my kids and everybody to like after I'm gone, I'd like them to be able to have a snapshot of some of the stuff that I did and what it means to me. So that's kind of what I wrote this book for. And again,
I can't wait to see the pictures.
Yeah. The art. Look, if you hate the writing, the art is beautiful. So there you go.
No, sorry. I was just going to say that I got a really weird message. This is from Red, from a friend of mine. He says, are you going to be in Natchez, Mississippi with Brad for the Bigfoot birthday bash?
There's an event in Natchez. That's TBD. To be determined. I gotta see if my schedule's clear. I know Brad's going to that, so if my schedule's clear, then I'll be. That's an event. It's kind of like a small Paracon kind of thing. But if my availability, I'll look at the next couple of days. I'll let you know. Okay,
because Red was just saying, goes, hey, from Hillbilly Red and Ellie Mae. Hope you're doing well, John. So do you know Red?
Yeah. He's a TikTok star.
Well, I know Red very well too. Red and I are friends. Yeah. I met him when he was with the Hillbillies in the Holler a long time ago.
Yes, Hillbillies in the Holler.
We did a snake grabbing rodeo in a small town in Mississippi. Look, we were the black
snake grabbing.
Yes,
grabbing snakes.
Hear me out. We were the black sheep. Okay, and I'm like you. I'm not touching a snake. I'll hunt a ghost, but I'm not touching a snake. So there's an officer. So I live in Madison, Mississippi. We had an officer who was not doing well from something that happened, police officer. So we were doing a charity event for the officer to raise funds. So they did a snake grabbing rodeo. So they had Hillbilly Red and they had Turtle Man and a bunch of other people. They had Uncle Si from Duck Dynasty. And then we were representing the house in between. So we were the black sheep of everybody out there, but we had a great time. It was a great event. So Hillbilly Red, if he's going to Bigfoot, I guess I need to get my butt down to Natchez.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's fun.
So I hope
Yeah.
Red. Hopefully, you heard that first here, Red. He said he's going to get his butt down there somehow. So he's going to get there. But yeah, Red and I've had him on the show, and yeah. Red is cool shit. I've been trying to get him to come up. I've been trying to get him to come to our Parafest, to get him up here to New York. Oh my God, it'd be hilarious. And mixing him up with the Naked and Afraid people. Can you imagine him and Melanie Roshauer hanging out? Oh my God.
Yeah.
Okay, we have questions
I'll tell you
for
what,
John.
our table was right across from him, and it was just fun watching him interact. It was great stuff. He's a rock star.
All right, so we have questions here. Go ahead, Cindy. You can read it.
Question for John from Bob. After the release of The House in Between, has neighbors of Alice come forward with paranormal reports, or does it seem Alice's house is the only one in the area that has paranormal activity? I say no, because I feel like the land has stuff, and it wouldn't surprise me, especially if the guy has gone to more places than just Alice's house.
Yep. So a great question, by the way. So we've talked to the neighbors since the first film and kind of since then as well. But honestly, there's been some, like the third neighbor down had some small happen, but it was small batch. But to her right and to her left, it's interesting. If you watch the documentary, Kendall, again, with the cinematography, he does a great job of showing the tree line of Alice's property. And that is where the majority, 98% of the activity is happening right on that property, centered right around that land.
All right, one more question here. Right up below it says, Barry Martz, question for John. Has a good portion of the physical history been forever lost in the Mississippi due to the hurricane tornado seasons there for many years?
So great question. We know it's associated with the land, and I don't want to give too much away. If you watch the documentary, you'll see that we bring some kind of animal expertise in to help us gauge the property. If that tells you anything, if it doesn't, then go watch the documentary. But
that's what it's all about, folks. Go watch it.
Because I don't want to give too much away, but that doesn't help. But we are trying to do our due diligence, and again, if everybody keeps watching The House in Between and keeps talking about it, there's so much more story to tell, and that's what we want to do. Is we want to pick up where that stopped, and we want to dive deeper. And if we can continue to have everybody in the United States and more watch this documentary, we have a list of things we need to have happen, and we can make those things happen if we keep talking about The House in Between.
All right, so John, Red says, awesome, man. We can't wait. There you go.
Okay, I have another question, John. What does wolves have to do with anything? Do you understand that?
Maybe. I'll say maybe.
Did you see Robert White's comment? At least the camp of Naked and Afeared would be snake free.
That's true.
Very true, yes.
Well, John, if we could ever get you up here, we'd have to have you up at our event too, because I think it'd be awesome to have you here, especially what we're finding out about your book and your movie. That would be fantastic to have that up here, especially since a lot of our people are looking for good stuff. You know what I mean? And you seem to be outside the box. So that's a good thing.
Yes, I'm definitely outside the box. It never, don't ever cross it off until you try it. That's what I'll say. You got to figure out what works and what doesn't work. And we're talking about the paranormal. Calm down.
Well, it's not that. It's like I said to Red, I said, we'd love, like I did to you, I said, I'd love to have you at the Parafest. And you know how he talks. And
yeah, I do.
So he says, thanks so much for the kind words. And Ted, we would love to come to New York, but we have been busier than a skeeter at a nudist tunneling.
That's fantastic.
That's Red.
That's an instant shirt. That needs to be on a shirt.
Yeah.
Selling merchandise right there.
Oh, God. I love that, man. Oh man.
That was fantastic, actually.
Let's see. Robert says I am seeing a black 8-ball in the house. Is that anything relevant?
Not off the top of my head.
And then Chanel says, Robert, you are a snake charmer now. So these you have to understand one thing about our people. They are nutty fruitcakes that love the topics. They're great people with great, comebacks and comments. And I love the people we have in our chat room.
We have great senses of humor.
5.5. Oh yes, and for 5.5 years, these guys have kept us laughing. Some of them dying while we're doing our show, and we can't. We feel like we're so disruptive to our guests, but sometimes you just can't help but laugh.
Oh, no. We lost him for a minute. Is he back there yet?
Not yet. We lost him. Oh, there he is.
Yay!
There you are.
It just kicked me off for no reason. I was like, what happened? There you go.
Yeah, Robert's like, uh-oh.
No, like what you're saying though, like out of the box, people who just they love life, right? And they just are excited about things. You don't ever want somebody to just be a yes person. You stay away from those people. You want people who challenge you, who ask questions, who are inquisitive, who just, and that's the world that we live in. And, and anytime that we can interact with those kind of people, I love it. And you are right. I need to get out and do more Paracons and introduce myself to people and high five people. And, I think anybody who supports what we do and watches the house in between, thank y'all so much. And
I remember seeing that. I think Steve was doing trailers of it a while back, right?
Yeah.
Mm, yeah. And you know what? That photo, like what's behind your head there, that would be perfect on a t-shirt.
Oh my gosh, yes, absolutely.
See, make t-shirts, bring your book. So there you go. Make some money off of it. I know you didn't. It's not the intention, but
look, I still got to pay the bills.
Telling the story is important.
Yeah. It is. I was planning on doing 10 photos, then it was 15, then it was 20, then we ended up with 33. So I got to pay for that art.
Yeah, well, I get it. I do mine from front to cover myself. I do it all, and it's not easy.
No, it's not.
I've been working on my. Well, I initially was working on my third and fourth book. It's been 2 years now.
Yeah,
so, but
it's a process. That's one of the hardest things I've ever done. So anybody who has ever written a book and gone through the process, kudos, because it is a very, very difficult thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I had decided that my coloring book that I created for Buddy the Bigfoot was actually my third release. That's my third book.
Love it.
My coloring book was a third. So, but yeah. But you know what, John? I really do want to say thank you for coming on here with us and hanging out and telling us all about it, because I myself, I'm going to watch it, and I'm going to give it the,
old college try.
Skeptical, the whole thing, no, I'm just, I want to be objective. I want to be clear-headed. I want to go into it because I'll be honest with you. I haven't been watching paranormal shows in years because I'm so tired.
I don't have cable TV to watch them.
I haven't watched paranormal shows in 4 years. I stopped after about 4 years ago. So, but and again, and I appreciate that. So yeah, just watch it, have an open mind. And I think what gives us the confidence of doing the house in between is like, we know how authentic it is and how real it is, and us doing our due diligence. So if somebody scrutinizes this, it's because it's not scary enough, and that's okay, because that's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to show you how real. We're trying to show you how a real haunting affects a person. And this is what the house in between is.
Oh, YouTube. YouTube was the other one that I saw that you could rent or buy it on also.
Right.
Yes. Yeah.
So everybody in here in the chat room is saying thank you, John, for being on here. And
awesome.
It's, last week's was great too. We've had a couple good interviews here in the past couple of weeks. Not saying that any of the other ones were bad, but just, it's been.
We always have a good time.
Yeah, it's good stuff, and I really, really appreciate you bringing that to our attention. And I think I reached out to you in the beginning for this because I myself, it caught me. And I'm just like, man, this would be really interesting to bring on the show.
Yeah,
you did. We don't do a lot of paranormal investigators, to be honest with you.
Well, cool. Well, thank y'all. I appreciate it. I do.
Yeah. Bob says, pleasure, John. Really enjoyed listening.
Thank y'all so much. I appreciate it. And again, it's a passion. It's something I've been doing. I'm not great at a lot of things, but this is one thing I feel like I'm decent at. So I'm going to keep doing it, keep trying to show proof of life after death. And people like you, both of y'all, thank y'all for everything you do, because we're all family and we all want to push this goal to somewhere where, we're pioneers of what we're doing, because I think in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, they'll look back and they'll appreciate the things that we were trying to do.
Yeah, and I found my long lost son.
That's right.
Daddy! No. But yeah, and Red says he can't wait to watch it either. So very, very cool. Well,
and this is the thing. I mean, you can even going to any of the Paracons, you can even bring up the house in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Push
for sure.
that.
So if you want to, if you really feel that it's something you can do, get a hold of me if you want to come up. I don't mind, giving you a table to come on up and set up.
Okay.
And don't leave, because I want to talk to you behind the scenes.
Yeah, so don't go anywhere.
In the green room.
Okay. Next week, guys, I just want to tell you that we have an interesting fella that's going to be joining us. He used to be a part of the, he still is a part of the WLFE family. Lacrosse Ortiz will be here next Monday. And we're going to talk. He's got a lot of stuff from the indigenous side that we're going to be exploring, which we haven't had the opportunity to do before, which I think is going to be really, really cool.
Really cool.
Yeah. So guys, please make sure you check out next Monday. Please go one more time, go out and purchase. Well, watch the movie first, thehouseinbetween.com.
That's right.
And then go over to, I'm sure it's more than just this place, but pick up A Peek Through the Veil by John Bullard. Definitely
That's
do
right.
that. And Cindy, what do you got going on this week quickly so we can get out of here? What do you got?
Yeah, so I have Tarot Tuesday.
Taco Tuesday.
I'm so sad, Teddy. I have to tell you, I just want to look at myself in this camera right there and see my beautiful lashes, but I still can't put them on because I have this stupid eye infection thing that it's just not healing on my eyelid. So it's really annoying me. So I'm going to be lash free again tomorrow for Tarot Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Okay.
And then what the hell was that? Something just was thrown at me. Oh, my son threw. I'm like, oh my God, something just fell on me under my table. How did that happen? Because I forgot who. You didn't just throw something at me? What the hell is going on?
Order A Peek Through the Veil and you'll find out.
Let's see. And then Thursday, I'll be doing catch up for the, actually, I'll probably do that tomorrow during the day if I can, if not Wednesday. But Thursday, I'll do another, or Sunday. Thursday or Sunday. I'm wishy-washy right now. Doing my all signs readings for the horoscopes.
Perfect.
Yes.
All right. So for me coming up, I don't have anything going on this week. It's normal for me, which is very cool. Normal. I am going to say this, and I'm going to tell you at the same time, Cindy, because I haven't had the opportunity to tell you this. But October 6th and 7th, which is a Wednesday, Thursday, we will be investigating live, you guys, at a location.
We know that I'm involved in this.
Yes, we do. But I actually have two psychic mediums joining me. One from Where's My Sage? She's going to be joining us. Christy is going to be with us. And then Bigfoot guy, Mr. Mike Ann, will be joining us. So we're going to be investigating the alleyway building in Caledonia, New York, and the bowling alley across the way, because both places are having stuff going on. So we'll be doing some.
Interesting. You can't tell me a thing.
I'm not telling you a thing. But we're going to be doing some live stuff there, and then you get to see how we do it up
True,
close
Robert.
and personal.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to get out of here, guys. John, don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with you in just a second. Guys, take care of yourselves. And remember, wherever there is darkness, there is always
daylight.
Thank you for listening to Paratalk Radio with Ted Wolf and Psychic Cindy. Catch us next Monday for another fantastic guest. Please check out our show as well as others on the WLFE DB Radio Network. And remember, like, follow, and share with everyone.
Join us at WLFE-DB.com for upcoming shows and so much more.